Welcome back to Reading Street, boys and girls. We are here to read and discuss together Goodbye 382 Shin Ding Dong. This week, it is another realistic fiction story, which means that it is a made-up story, but it could really happen. And our focus question is, why is it hard to adapt to a new culture? So just looking at the front page, the genre, the question, what do you think the story is going to be about? Go ahead and pause and think and answer, and then come back when you're ready. Well, if I look at the picture, I think that the person in the story is going somewhere, and with the title, Goodbye. So I think, and it looks like the person has a suitcase. So I think this person might be moving because 382 Shin Ding Dong kind of sounds like it could possibly be an address. All right, so let's look and see if our questions get answered right away. My heart beats in two places, here where I live and also in a place where I once lived. So we were right, this person did move. You see, I was born in Korea. One day my parents told me we were moving to America. So they're going all the way from another country and coming to America. I was 8 years old enough to keep many lovely memories of my birthplace alive in my heart forever. But one very sad memory stays with me too. The day I cried, Goodbye 382 Shin Ding Dong. On that summer day, I woke up to the sound of light rain tapping on my window. The monsoon season was coming. I didn't even need to open my eyes to know that. It was that time of year. It was also time to move. In a few hours, I would be on an airplane. When I opened my eyes, my heart sank. My bedroom was so bare. No hand-painted scrolls or colorful fans on my walls. No silk cushions or straw mats on my floor. All my possessions were packed away in a big brown box marked lovely things. I frowned and listened to the raindrops. 1, 2, 3. Soon the thick of the monsoon would arrive, and 1,000 raindrops would hit our clay-tiled roof all at once. But I couldn't be here to listen to them. I would be halfway around the world in a strange foreign place called 112 Foster Terrace, Brighton, Massachusetts, USA. So I know that this person is moving now, and how do you think she feels about it? How does the main character feel so far about having to move? Yes, I agree. She does not feel very good about moving. And my text evidence, I found one piece of text evidence. Well, there are a couple, but the text evidence that let me know that she was sad about this is the fourth paragraph, the first sentence. When I opened my eyes, my heart sank. Oh, I know that feeling when I'm sad about something. I just feel, my chest feels very heavy and I'm just sad. And her walls were bare. This bear is a homophone. Remember last week when we were talking about bear and bear? Spelled this way, what does this word mean? Does she have an animal in her room? No. Her walls don't have anything on them because she's leaving. Okay, let's see. What else? Oh, one last question for this page. Monsoon. Who knows what that word means? I think it means having something to do with rain. So it says monsoon season, and so that's a whole season, kind of like our winter. What happens in our winter? Right? We get lots of snow. So the monsoon season, if I look it up in the dictionary, it is a season of strong winds and heavy rain. So they have a whole season of rainy weather. Now, is that similar or different to what we have here in Michigan? That would be different. We do get a lot of rain in the spring, but not always heavy rain and high winds. My parents were very excited. Jingmi, you will like America, Dad tried to assure me. Are the seasons the same, I wondered? Oh, yes. With monsoon rains? No, Jingmi, no monsoon rains. No friends either, I moaned. You will make many new friends in America, Mom promised, in your new home. But I loved my home right here. I didn't want to go to America and make new friends. I didn't want to leave my best friend, Kasuni. After breakfast, Kasuni and I ran out into the rain into the open market. Monsoon season was also the season for sweet yellow melons called chummy. Cassini and I would often peel and eat a chummy under the willow tree that stood outside my bedroom window. But today, the chummy were for guests who were coming over for a farewell lunch. All at the market, we peered into endless baskets and took our time choosing the ripest, plumpest chummy we could find. Do they have chummy in America? Cassini wondered. No, I replied, but my mom says they have melons called honeydew. Honeydew, Cassini giggled. What a funny name. So I think that chummy is kind of a funny name. And if you looked at the picture before you came into the book, I put a picture of chummy and a picture of honeydew. And I did ask you to kind of look at the pictures and think about how they were similar. Some of the ways that I noticed they were similar, they both had seeds, but they were different colors, right? So that was a contrast. All right, let's see. How does Cassini feel about moving, and how do her parents feel, and how do you know? Well, very first sentence, my parents were very excited. Is that the same way Cassini feels, or is that different? Yeah, it's a little bit different. Jingmi is not excited about moving. Right in that paragraph, right next to the picture, I didn't want to go to America and make new friends. She was not happy about moving. Soon after we returned, remember they were at the open market, soon after we returned, family and friends began to arrive carrying pots and plates of food. One by one, they took off their shoes, then entered the house. Grandmother was dressed in her most special occasion, hanbok. She set up the long bap song, and before I could even blink, on it were a big pot of dumpling soup and the prettiest pastel rice cakes I had ever seen. Cassini and I peeled and sliced our chummy and carefully arranged the pieces on a plate. Then everybody ate and sang traditional Korean songs and celebrated in a sad way. Love and laughter and tears rippled through our house. How I wanted to pack these memories into a big brown box and bring them with me to America, kind of like her lovely things from her room. Cassini and I sneaked outside and sat beneath the willow tree. We watched the rain with glum faces. Cassini, I wish we never had to move from this spot, I said. Me too, she sighed. Jingmi, how far away is America? My mom says that it's halfway around the world, and my dad told me that when the moon is shining here, the sun is shining there. That's how far apart we'll be, so almost a whole day apart. I moaned. That's really far, Cassini moaned back. We watched the rain and grew more glum than ever. Then Cassini perked up. So when you're awake, I'll be asleep. And when I'm awake, you'll be asleep, she declared. At least we'll always know what the other is doing. So what mood words from our story help us understand what mood is going on at the going away party? So can you pick out some words that describe the mood? Is it a happy mood or a sad mood? Yeah, it's a sad mood. One of those words in the story, the word glum. So we watch the rain with glum faces. Glum just means like a sad, down face. So the mood was sad, but there was some laughing and also tears. Why do you think there were tears and sad feelings? Yeah, I think they were going to be missed by their family and their friends. They were going to be a whole day away from their family. That moment, our faces brightened. But a moment later, we had to say goodbye. Cassini held back her tears. Promise you'll write to me, Jingmi. I promised, Cassini. It was time to go to the airport. Kimpo Airport, Dad instructed the taxi driver. The taxi slowly pulled away. I looked at our beautiful home one last time. Like rain on the windows, tears streaked down my face. Goodbye, 382 Shinding Dong, I cried. So what is she saying goodbye to? Yeah, she's saying goodbye to her house because she won't see it ever again. On the long ride to the airport, Dad asked me, do you want to know what your new home looks like? Okay, I shrugged. Let's see, Dad began. It's a row house. A house that's attached to other houses, Mom explained. And inside the house are wooden floors, Dad added. Not andal floors, I asked him. How will we keep warm in the winter without on-doll floors? There are radiators in every room, Mom said with an enthusiastic clap, and a fireplace in the living room. Imagine. Now, no, I could not imagine that. In our home, we had a fire in the cellar called the on-doll. It stayed lit all the time. The heat from the on-doll traveled through underground pipes and kept our wax-covered floors warm and cozy. A fireplace in the living room sounded peculiar to me. Peculiar means strange. And the rooms are separated by wooden doors, Mom added. No rice paper doors, I wondered. No, my parents shook their heads, nosing me. My eyes closed with disappointment. I had a hard time picturing this house. Would it ever feel like home? How did Jamie feel about the new house? Well, she already knows that she's going to feel uncomfortable there because it will be so different from her house in Korea. The floors, doors, and the way the heating in the house will be totally different from what she's used to. So that's going to be a little hard for her to get used to or adapt to. But I have faith that she will get used to all those new changes. On the airplane, I sat by the window. We flew over rice fields and clay tiled roofs. Already, I felt homesick. The next thing I knew, we were flying over the ocean. At first, I could see fishing boats rocking in the waters. As we climbed higher into the clouds, the boats grew smaller and smaller. Suddenly, the world looked very big to me. Goodbye, 382, shin dang dong, I cried again. Dad sat back in his seat and began to read an American newspaper. The words were all foreign. Dad, I asked, how will I ever learn to understand English? It's not so hard, he said. Would you like to learn an English word? Okay, I sighed. After a pause, Dad came up with rose. Rose, I repeated. What does that mean? That's the English translation of your Korean name, Mom said. Rose means Jing-mi, I asked. Rose means Jing-mi, I asked. Yes, my parents nodded. Rose, I said over and over. Would you like to adopt Rose as your American name, Mom asked me. No, I like my name, I insisted. Let's see. Okay, so we're going to find a compound word on page 272. Okay, now compound word are two smaller words put together to make one bigger new word. Okay, did you find one? Okay, it's highlighted in yellow for you. Home and sick make homesick. What does homesick mean? Well, I know that home is the place where you live, and sick means to be not feeling well or sad. So I think feeling homesick means to feel sick or sad because you are away from home, and that's exactly how Jingmi is feeling about her home in Korea. Why do you think Jingmi does not want to change her name to Rose? Well, I don't think she is ready to change anything else in her life. She's already moving far away, leaving family and friends. She's going to have to learn a new language, have a new home. She's not quite ready for that. I don't blame her. How can you tell Jingmi is concerned about adapting to a new culture? Adapting to a new culture. Does she sound a little worried? Well, she asks her father how she will learn English. She practices saying her English over and over. On a foggy morning, 4 days later, we arrived in Massachusetts. After we gathered our luggage, we climbed into an airport taxi. Even through the fog, I could see that things were very different in America. There were big, wide roads called highways. The rooftops were shingled instead of clay tiled. People shopped in glass-enclosed stores instead of open markets. No rice fields, no monsoon rains, so many foreign faces. Slowly, the taxi pulled up to the new house on a quiet street. Red brick steps led up to a wooden door. Here we are, Jingmi, Dad said. 112 Foster Terrace, Boston, Massachusetts, USA. The house was just as my parents had described. I took off my shoes and walked on wooden floors. They were very cold. I opened wooden doors. They felt very heavy. Outside, the fog had lifted, but inside, everything felt dark and strange. Look, Dad pointed out the window. There's a tree just like the one at home. No, it's not, Dad. It's a willow tree, I said. It's not a willow tree, I said. No, he agreed. It's a maple tree, but isn't it beautiful? 382, shin ding dong. 382, shin ding dong. I wanted to go home to 382, shin ding dong right now. Only a knock at the door saved me from tears. Mom announced, "The movers are here." The house quickly filled up with furniture and big brown boxes. The box marked "Lovely Things" was the last to arrive. I unpacked all my possessions. I hung my hand-painted scrolls and colorful fans on the walls. I placed my silk cushions and straw mats on the floor. Then came another knock. To our surprise, a parade of neighbors waltzed in carrying plates of curious food. There were pink and white ice cakes and warm pans containing something called casseroles. A girl my age wandered up to me with a small glass bowl. Inside the bowl were colorful balls. They smelled funny. She pointed to a red ball and said watermelon. She pointed to an orange ball and said cantaloupe. Lastly, she pointed to a green ball and said honeydew. I took a green ball in it and tasted it. It was as sweet and delicious as chummy. Remember in the beginning of the story, Mom had told her that there was honeydew melons and that they were very much like chummy, and I feel like she might really like it. The girl asked me a question, but I couldn't understand her. She wants to know what kind of fruit you eat in Korea. Dad stepped in. Chummy, I replied. Chummy, the girl repeated, then giggled. Just like Kusuni. Remember how Kusuni said, "Oh, honeydew, what a funny name." And this new neighbor has had the same reaction to the name Chummy. Okay, what can you tell about this little girl so far? I agree. I think she's friendly. She came up to Jingmi and offered her some food. Do you predict that they might become friends? Yeah, I think that would probably be a pretty good prediction. She asked me another question. She wants to know your name, Dad said. Maybe someday I would adopt Rose as my American name, but not today. Jingmi, I replied. Jingmi, the girl smiled. My name is Mary. Mary, I smiled back. I had made a new friend. Later, when all the guests had gone, I went outside and sat under the maple tree. Dad was right. It was beautiful. Maybe someday Mary and I would sit beneath this tree and watch the rain fall. And maybe I would come to love it as much as our willow tree back home in Korea. But not today. I began to write, Dear Kusuni, my best friend was so far away from me, so very, very far, but at least I knew where Kusuni was and what she was doing. She was halfway around the world, sleeping in the sound of 1,000 raindrops hitting her clay-tiled roof all at once. Why do you think Jingmi sits under the maple tree? Well, my guess would be that it probably reminds her of the tree outside of her room in Korea. What about, let's see, using what you've learned in the selection, tell how hard it can be adapting to a new culture. So what kinds of things, imagine maybe yourself moving to a new place where nobody speaks the same language you do, the homes are different, you don't have any friends yet. Would that be hard? Yeah, I think it would be hard. What kinds of feelings would you be feeling? I think lonely might be one of them, maybe scared. Do you think that Jingmi adjusts to living in America? Do you think she makes friends? Do you think she learns English? Yeah, I think she probably does. Why do you think the authors chose to end the story with Jingmi sitting under a tree? Well, in Korea, she sat under a tree and talked to her best friend. Jingmi hopes she can soon do the same thing in her new home with her new friend. All right, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed the story, and I hope you continue to think about how hard it would be to have to move. Maybe you have already moved and know exactly how hard it is. Maybe you've moved neighborhoods or you've moved schools and have had to start from scratch to make friends and learn the customs of the classroom. So be thinking about those things while we're reading and doing our activities this week. All right, boys and girls, have an awesome day.